is sin. Homosexuality, let me say it again. Homosexuality is sin. For John and Jimmy to hook up sexually is sin. For Eve and Evelyn to hook up sexually, that is sin. But let's find the pattern that the Bible uses to talk about this sin of homosexuality. Chapter number 19. And there came two angels to Sodom. Sodom, understand, is a place filled with homosexuals, and we're going to see the depth of it in a minute. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them and bowed unto himself with his face towards the ground. And he said, now these are, and he said, behold now, my lords, he's talking about the angels, who have come to Sodom in the form of men, because God says, I want to go and see if everything that has come up before me is true. Everybody say, these are angels. Come on, y'all talk to me. It's okay. We all adults. It said, these are angels. And he said in verse 2, behold now, my Lord, talking to the angels, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go your way. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. These are the angels. Verse 3, who are in the form of men. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into the house, and he made them a feast. He did bake them unleavened bread, and they did eat. So the angels, who are now in the form of men, go in the house and they eat. Verse 4, but before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. So now here come the young men and the old men coming to the house where the angels, who are in the form of men, are now staying in Lot's house. They circle the house. Now watch this. And verse number 7. Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm in verse number 5. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came to thee this night? Bring them out to us that we may know them. Now, when you get home, read Matthew chapter 1, 24 and 25, and it will reaffirm that the word know means to have a sexual relation with. Okay? Matthew 1, 24, 25. Genesis 4, 1 and 7. Which lets you know that to know them means to have a sexual relationship. So what were the men saying? These men circle the house. I'm telling y'all, the Old Testament, Mikey, is like a soap opera. It's like Jerry Springer. They knock on the door and they say, send us the men that just came into the city that's in your house, that we may have sexual relation with them. Hold that thought right there. Everybody say, have mercy, Lord. Everybody say, have mercy, Lord. I'm glad she said that. Everybody say, have mercy, Lord. That's disgusting. That's disdain. That's just, oh, have mercy. Say it again. Oh, my God, Mary, you just set me up where the Lord want me to go. Everybody say, have mercy, Lord. She heard that the men were homosexual because they wanted to have relation with the angels who were in form of men, and her first reaction was, have mercy, Lord. Perfect reaction. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. They said, send them out that we may know them. And Lot went out and shut the door at the door to them and shut the door after him. He came out the house to talk to the men that were trying to have sex with the men in his house. And he said, notice what Lot said in verse 7, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Verse 8, behold now, I have two daughters, which have not known men. What does known men mean? Which is they are virgins, have never had sex. I pray you bring them out. I pray you bring them out unto you, and you do them as good in your eyes. Only until these men do nothing. For therefore came they under my shadow, my roof. Lot said, man, these men are under the shadow of my roof. I got two virgin daughters that I'll let you take out and do what you feel like you need to do with them, but don't bother these men. Everybody keep saying, have mercy. Verse 9, and they said, stand back. They said again, This one fella came in a sojourn, and he will need be judged. Bring him out here, man. We need to do some stuff. Now we'll deal worse with thee than with him. And they pressed sore upon the men, even Lot, and came near to break the door. These men were so lustful after men until they tried to break the door down to get to the men to have relation with them. Everybody say, Lord, have mercy. Y'all just keep that. I just want y'all to keep saying, Lord, have mercy. All right, every time your flesh cross tonight, I want you to say, Lord, have mercy. Every time you hear the Bible say something that's so disgusting and disdain that it make your flesh crawl, I want you to say, what? Lord, have mercy. They said, they want to break the door down. Verse 10. And the men pulled forth their hands and poured Lot into the house unto them and shut the door. These are the men who were an angel. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot, have thou not any beside thee, thy son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whoever thou in the city? Bring them out. They blind and still trying to get. For we will destroy this place and crowd them in the way, and destroy it. And Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, And what God does is God sends fire down and God destroys the city. Now, everybody say God destroyed the city. Come on, y'all ain't talking to me now. Everybody say God destroyed the city. Now, if you only read chapter 19, you will conclude deductively that God destroyed the city because of what? Everybody say homosexuality. Come on, y'all, talk to me. You will conclude, Melissa, that, oh my God, when they tell me that God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of homosexuality, it was the truth. Now let's go back chapter number 18 and see why God really destroyed the city. Because, see, you can't take half of the matter. You got to take the totality of Scripture and put it in a proper context. Look at what happens in chapter number 18. This is what they don't tell you. Look at verse 20. And the Lord said, behold, because of the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because the sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which has come up unto me. And if not, I will know. God said, I got to go see for myself. And verse 22, and the men turned their face from thence and went towards Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew nigh and said, will thou ought. Now notice what Abraham asked him. Will you destroy the righteous with the wicked? God said, I'm getting ready to go destroy these folks. Abraham said, God, will you destroy the good folk with the bad folk? Are you going to destroy everybody because the city is full of homosexuals? That's the question. Watch the text. Abraham drew nigh and said, will thou also destroy the right of the wicked? Peradventure, God says, and Abraham said, God, I tell you what if I go out and find 50 righteous people within the city? Will thou not despair the city for 50 righteous? God said, I tell you what, you go and find me 50 righteous, and I won't. And the Lord said, if thou find 26 in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all of the places. What's God looking for? He ain't say I'm looking for somebody who ain't a homosexual. He said find me somebody that's living right. Y'all talk to me in the house. God said if you find me 50 people, he didn't say if you find me 50 men or women who ain't living a homosexual life. He said find me 50 righteous and I'll spare the city. Watch this. And Abraham said, God, verse 27, behold, now I have taken upon thee to speak unto the Lord. I'm but dust and ashes. He said, I'll tell you what, if I peradventure there shall lack 55 of the 50 righteous. What if I find you 45? He said, God said, Abraham said, God, I may not be able to find you 50, but what if I find? He said, I tell you what, go find me 45. Watch the text. He never said, if I find you 45, they're not homosexual. He said, if I find you 45 folk that living holy. God said, I tell you what, you go find me 45. I ain't gonna destroy him. Watch this. Verse 30. He said, don't let the Lord be angry. Peradventure, he said, well, 45 may be a bit too many. Y'all ain't got to talk tonight. He said, what if I find you 30? God said, if you find me 30, I'll spare. He said, behold, I tell you, speak perfect. I'm in verse 31 now. He said, what if I find you 20? Verse 32. He said, don't be angry. He said, but peradventure, what if I find you 10? He said, if you find me 10, I won't destroy. Now, that was the prelude to 19. So why did God destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? Because there was no righteous. God said, man, if you find me 10 righteous. He didn't say if you find me 10 folk who weren't homosexual. He said if you find me 10 righteous folk, I'll spare it. Do you see how you have to put scripture upon scripture, text upon text? What did the Bible say about homosexuality? Look at Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 22. Y'all going to see a pattern here. Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 22. You're going to see a pattern. Because if you go out tomorrow and ask the average preacher, why did God destroy the city of Solomon? They said because they were homosexual. Devil is a lie. He destroyed it because there were no